Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Happy Thursday.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to you, Bob. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm
Excellent.
Little subdued.
Okay.
You know,
right.
looking forward, to have a ball today, go nuts, but maybe not.
Fair enough. How
about you? How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's another Thursday where we get a chance to make a difference for people, which is what we try to do on this show. So welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where we try to have a conversation around a topic.
We don't try to have a conversation. We have a conversation.
It's not always around the topic. I mean, it might be tangentially around the topic. So that's why I say
that's the beauty of it.
Well, yeah. So, all right. We have a conversation around our topic.
Thank you.
Our topic this week is value of an hour. And we've talked all about what it is, why it matters, increasing the value. And today we're going to talk about, can you squander the value of your hour, which I think will be an interesting conversation. And before we get to that,
can you squander it, or how do you squander it?
I don't know. That's the conversation.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So if you would like to weigh in, or maybe you have some thoughts already about whether it's how or can, please feel free, especially if you are watching this on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live,
Live from LinkedIn. No, wait, LinkedIn Live. Sorry, I totally checked out there for a second. I was trying to think about what my celebration would be.
Got it. Yeah. Well, I try to tee you up occasionally, and
you do.
Sometimes you don't.
Sorry, I'm a little slow today.
I think the challenge is that you have so many responses that are based on something that I say or that is said,
yes.
that it's probably hard to keep track of all of the
characters, like Saturday Night Live sketches.
Correct. You're correct. Yes. Your multi-personalities are getting hard to manage, it looks like.
That's it.
So if you are watching on any of those social media platforms, thank you. Please feel free to leave us a comment or share your comments and thoughts. At the end of our show, we'll offer our one thing to hopefully help you move forward, whether today or sometime in the future. And we know that by sharing comments, you may have the one thing that somebody looks like. So please feel free to share that at the end if you would like as well. If you are listening,
share it in the middle too.
You certainly could.
You said share it at the end. I'm just saying it could be in the middle. You could share your one thing today. Right now.
Okay. Okay. Should I do that now and then the show will just be over? No.
Some would argue that's probably to our benefit.
I guess it could be. And if you are listening to the podcast, please feel free to share it with others. If you're watching this, you can share it with others as well. It might add value to someone's day. And we also would love it if you would rate our podcast.
5 stars, please, people. We need 5 stars. It's good affirmation for me.
Please help Bob with his affirmations today and rate us a 5-star. That's a good plus.
Most of these podcasts would be looking for donations, not me. I just want 5-star reviews.
You just want, right, because for you, it's about
affirmation
and gifts. From our conversation the other day.
Yes. You remembered. Very nice.
You think I forget what we do? Uh-oh. Either Bob froze or I froze. One of the two. It's probably me, but I don't know. Bob seems to not usually freeze. So anyhow, we're going to keep moving along with this. This will make this interesting. I'll get either I'm just talking to myself or Bob has frozen, and we'll have to wait to see if and when he comes back.
Oh, I can't.
Are you back? I think that was actually you.
It was me. I don't know what happened.
Uh-oh. Today, Bob's got the technical issues. So while Bob tries to figure that out, we will continue to move along with the show. It's a great capture of his face for those of you who are watching this frozen in the moment. So as we have our discussion, we talked about that. Please feel free to share your comments, and Bob would like you to rate our podcast. So we are going to dive into what we start our day with every day. There, you're back.
Wow, sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on.
You had a great frozen look, so you'll have to go back and watch the replay. And
okay. Well, I like to do what I can to make this show exciting and to get those podcast people to want to watch.
To go from listening to watching?
Yes.
To go from the pod that is cast to the broad that is cast?
Broad. Sounds weird that way.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not. The more I keep saying that, I'm not sure I want to continue down that pathway. Anyhow, so let's dive in. What we start our day off with, our show off at every day, is celebrations. What are you celebrating today, Bob?
I am celebrating a very specific person at a medical facility.
I'm not sure if we're gonna have to wait to find out who that very specific person is at a medical facility, as Bob tries to figure out what's going on with his internet today. Kind of makes me feel a little better that it's not only me, because typically it has been me that has the challenges. So while we're waiting for Bob to come back
for a procedure that
now he's completely disappeared. Now this is an interesting move. There he is.
I'm back. I was trying to do some magic, but apparently not so much. I don't know what's going on.
I thought you just disappeared like into the screen, like there was.
No, yeah. I've got everything appears to be working, but it's not. So I apologize.
So
anyway,
we heard part of your celebration that you wanted to thank a very specific person at a medical facility, and
yes, and I didn't get her name, and she wouldn't give me her name. But I said to her, I'm only in town for today, and I really would like to get this done. If there's any way, I will sit here and wait all day for it. And she said, let me do some checking. And she checked, and she came back, and she was able to schedule it later in the day. And when I came back, she said, I really appreciate.
I think he probably said he really appreciates that, or she really appreciates it.
I'm back. Is it crazy when this happens? It just throws everything.
It does.
So what are you celebrating, Tom?
Well, we're not. I don't think we all got that. You said she was starting to say she really appreciate something.
I like Dan's comment. Did you see Dan Miles' comment?
I did not.
For some reason, not
disappearing Bob made my morning. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So Dan is a buddy of mine from high school. Way back.
Hey, Dan, I love it. I can read it so many ways. I will, of course, take it in the most negative way, but I can respect that. It's also very funny.
Well, I'll have to do some coaching with Bob that it's not funny because we don't need him on the show. It's funny because he literally came back and was gone. It was just like a disappearing act, which was actually kind of cool. So
what are you celebrating, Tom? Because I'm celebrating this woman that was really helpful.
So I had some other complete celebration. I'm sort of celebrating today that this time it wasn't my technology that was an issue. And I think I'm going to go with that as much as there are many other things to celebrate.
Seeing how the other half lives on the technology world, huh?
Yeah. I don't like it so much. So
isn't it? It's very unsettling because now you're thinking, oh, this could go wrong at any moment. And you got to figure out what you're going to say. And will I be back? Will I not be back? Yeah, I'm with you. So you're probably wondering what the nation is celebrating today.
I am, and I would not have been able to come up with that if you had not come back.
I know. That's why I came back. That's why I was working feverishly. I know my most important function. It is Christmas card day.
Christmas card day.
Yes. So this is the day when you need to get your stamps, get your envelopes, get it all ready, write them out, and send them, because another week from now you send them, they're probably not going to be there before Christmas. Not that anyone cares. And in my house, it's a little weird because we have Christmas cards coming in. And also next week, there'll be some birthday cards coming in. So we get lots of envelopes coming in. See what I did there? And did you know, Tom, that Christmas cards came about in Victorian times?
I did not.
I did not know that. There was a dude.
A
Sir dude. Sir Henry Cole. He was a Victorian dude, and he received a whole bunch of letters, and he had little time to deal with it because back then you had to respond to every letter. It was just the way it was. Culturally, you had to respond. So he spent all his time responding to letters. And then in 1843, he asked his friend, J.C. Horsley, there you go, great name, to illustrate a design he had in mind. Soon he was off to the printer, got that design printed, and he mailed the first Christmas card.
Is there a picture of it there? What it was?
I do not have the picture, nor could I share it without some sort of copyright thing, but you can look it up.
Okay.
But think about that. Really an entrepreneurial idea, right? A problem. I'm getting a million letters. It's taking me forever to handwrite my response. You couldn't pull out the daisy wheel printer or the laser printer and give answers. He couldn't go to send out cards and do or Vista print. He had to it was hard handwritten work. So he said, hey, I got this friend, I got this idea, do a drawing, and we'll send that back to people. And that was the birth of the Christmas card. So I love how it's out of necessity that an invention comes about.
Sure. It's interesting that you, well, not, I was going to say most of these days are probably that way, and that is likely not the case.
And Jordan says, oh boy, good reminder to get cards out. Definitely haven't started yet. Good to see Jordan here with us. Jordan's helped us with various aspects of our business. So it's great to see her joining in this morning.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So now that we have our celebrations taken care of for the day, and hopefully our technology issues are behind us, let's dive into our topic today, which is, again, the topic for the week is value of an hour. And today we're going to talk about squandering it. How can you squander it? How do you squander it? So do you want to share some thoughts on that, Bob?
I can. I'll make it really simple.
Okay.
If you're not taking action, if you're thinking about action, if you're procrastinating taking action, if you're debating whether to take an action, you're probably well on your way to squandering that hour. That's one way. Another way is undervaluing your hour. Okay. What is your hour worth? You know, you said earlier with the program, we really like to help people with this. This is valuable time. This is a half hour every morning that I could be doing so many other things. You could be doing so many other things. But we value this. This is important to who and what we are. And so even though we haven't gotten billions of dollars and the TV networks haven't given us the, now there's a 9 o'clock slot on CNN because Chris Cuomo's out. I really thought we'd get the call. Tom, Bob, we really want you to jump in.
Maybe they're still weighing their options.
Okay, that's true. Could be. You know, I talked to my agent yesterday and she wasn't really thinking it was going to work, but you never know.
You need a different agent then.
I do. But you could argue that we squander this time each morning because we're not making millions of dollars. But what you and I both, the value we have always said from day one, our purpose, if it helps other people, great. If it helps you and me, that means it's valuable.
Well, I think that's what it's all about, right? Is how do you define value or success for that matter?
I thought the hokey pokey was what it was all about. That's what it's all about. You put your right. Sorry, it was there.
Okay, that's fair. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't remember saying what it's all about, but I think
No, you put your right hand in, you put your right
yeah.
hand out, right hand in,
No, I
shake it
got
all
that part
about,
of it.
do
I
the
just
hokey
didn't.
pokey. And
I
that's
didn't
what it's
remember.
all about.
I didn't remember saying the lead in that would get you to that. That was what I didn't remember.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. You know.
So I think that now I clearly remember that I did say that's what it's all about. So, but you know, it's interesting because I think, you know, taking action is one thing. And I think defining what does taking action mean and what is valuable action. Because I think that there are a lot of times when not taking action could be a really good use of and a very valuable use of an hour. Right? If you
Ooh,
are,
I like that.
if you have been
Nice.
working really hard for 2 straight hours, it might be to step away, to walk away and do nothing so that you are better prepared to come back and refocus. Now, everybody's going to be different. And I think that's the interesting thing about that, because part of me was thinking that squandering is really about judgment. And we always talk about, or we talk a lot about, not judging things, right? Just letting them happen and then looking back and saying, okay, well, what went well, what didn't go as planned, and what might I do differently? And now I have learned something that, you know, you could be the person who works 3 straight hours, and really the third hour is not effective. It's not productive. You're not getting as far
You've
as
gotten frustrated.
Correct. You've gotten stuck. You're in almost a not as leverageable moment as you were at the start. And so had you taken the time away, you know, that might have been, and it could be just different. You could just use it differently. You learn something. And so now you know that your limit, as Bob is frozen, it's only so long, that at some point there's not going to be, you know, that you might do it really well. It might be effective or it might not be effective. And I think it's really trying to figure out what's real for you in the moment, that where you're at, and then learning from that. Are you back or are you still frozen? Looks like you're still frozen. So I'll keep talking about squandering it. I mean, I think Bob made some really good points about is that if we are not taking action, oh, you're back. Welcome back.
You said take a break or get away, and I got away. I was paying close attention to you.
Fair enough. Oh, just so you know.
Yes.
CNN isn't an option.
Oh,
trying to
the
appeal to
Comedy
the-
Channel.
Ah, got it.
The Hokey Pokey Show with Tom and Bob. I like it.
That might, well, I'm not going to go there.
And our buzz line at the end could be, that's what it's all about.
Maybe that's the title of it. That's what it's all about.
That's what's, oh, that's good. That's good.
Talk to your agent about that.
Yeah, I will.
So
I will.
What do you think about the idea that the word or the use or considering something squandering it is just a judgment?
It's a judgment?
Yeah,
I agree with you, but I think I also, did I freeze again?
No. You said I agree with you, but I'm like, all right. So you don't really agree with me.
No, I agree with you, but I give a provision, which is that there are times that we just need to allow ourselves to be ineffective. So I do a fair amount of writing. When I do writing, there are times when I'm writing something and it's really not great. But to get to the good stuff, you have to go through the average stuff. Just like yesterday when we were coming up with the title of today's program, we kicked around a couple of things. They were okay, but when I sent you Squander, you were like, "Oh, love that." We had to go through that process. We couldn't just
squandering?
land it on that.
Is that squandering?
I think to a lot of people, they would say yes. You know, I've heard people, it takes me so long to write a really great email. And it's like, well, yeah, it's going to take you a long time to write a really great email.
Well,
you want to write an average email, it's real quick.
Because it matters, right? So It's important. And the time that you take to craft an effective email, especially if it really matters, Is that time being squandered and not of value?
Hard to say. What do you think the people in Victorian times thought when all of a sudden, instead of this guy writing a lovely note saying, "Hey, I'm so happy you sent me that good tidings to you and your family for the new year and all that good stuff," they get a card and he just signs his name to it. Roses are red, violets are blue. Merry Christmas to your family and you.
You could write Christmas cards.
Oh, if only.
Or holiday cards or birthday cards.
Yes.
Can you write your own birthday card? Because we know, because you shared that your birthday is coming up.
I could. I'll work on that.
Okay.
Maybe I'll put a thing, and see if other people can come up with the perfect birthday card sentiment.
That would be a good post in the Ring of Renegades to see.
Yeah, I like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and I guess the concept though is of I would go back to, is that squandering? Is all of the work that you do, even if it's prepping for something, or it's something that it's an idea that you go down that rabbit hole for a little bit because it seems like it might make sense, and yet in the end, it's not one you choose. Is that squandering that time?
I guess it becomes even more complicated when you think about what you get paid to do. I spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of time talking to people about what we do, which does not come back to direct revenue. I have days where I'm talking to people all day long and the money isn't there that day. The money might not be there for 3 months, 3 years.
Isn't that basing results in the moment? And that results, sometimes our results change over time. Yes. How many times have you spoke with someone, nothing happened for a while, and then they turn around and come back later and decide to engage with you? And the only reason they're doing that is because they spoke to you before. I mean, I had a client who was, I did a presentation to a group. Immediately, no one was like, "Oh, Tom, you're amazing. I need to hire you." And 6 months later, when someone was given the go-ahead from their supervisor to hire a coach, she told me I was the first one she thought of. And so I could have said, yeah, that was a waste of time. I squandered that time speaking to that group because that may have been the results in the moment.
Yeah.
And in reality, 6 months later, it became a very valuable time because not only did I end up working with that person, there was another person in the organization that I worked with, and I'm going back to do a facilitation of a strategic plan discussion coming up. So the idea that hour and the prep time for that hour was squandered, I think sometimes those are immediate results that we're considering and not thinking about what might the long-term benefit of those actions be.
So let me give you a scenario and you tell me if I squandered time. I'm down at the beach and working with a company that wanted to expand, thought we had an opportunity to expand here in the beach area, went out, spent 4 or 5 days talking to companies about what we do, trying to set things up. In the end, it didn't work out. The interest wasn't there yet. The logic, it was a tough sell. So we abandoned that, at least in the short term. Did I squander I'd say 10, 15 days I invested in that, or did I not? Because we have no concrete anything from that other than I could tell you I wasted the time because I could have been doing other things. Is that squandering the time?
Well, I think there was a word that you used in that description. See if you can come up with it. Very short little word.
The only thing I'm coming up with right now is the hokey pokey. That's what it's all about.
Stuck in your head, isn't it?
It is. I'm not.
You're going to rue that in the middle of the day when you're like,
"Ooh, look at that! You're going to."
Perfect time for him to freeze. Yes, I use the word rue. You like the fact that I use that. You will rue that in the middle of the day when that song is stuck in your head. So here's the thing I was going to say about what Bob shared in his comments was the word yet. and it was interesting when he said that because you froze again.
I know.
It's one of those days.
I have no idea what.
I think what happened is that Google heard Bob talk about the hokey pokey and thought like he was infringing on their rights without the rights to use that. And so now they're giving him a hard time on the internet. Did you hear what I said?
No.
That you were using the hokey pokey and that Google or someone, internet police, were like, well, he doesn't have the rights to do that. And that was more than 3 seconds. So we're going to mess up his internet.
I like that. That's good theory.
So here's the word that I shared with them, with the group while we were waiting for you to come back, was yet. You said that in the middle of your description.
All right. Right.
So you could right now look and say, yeah, I squandered that time because I could have been doing something else. The other thing is, if I asked you, like, if we went back to our 3 questions and you looked at that time and I would say, well, what went well? And then what didn't go as planned? Right. And what would you do differently? Because I would imagine that one of the things you might have learned is, maybe beach towns that are inhabited by maybe there's a lot of people, but a lot of people are transient. And that might not be the best place for our organization to expand. And so even though it didn't work out in the beach location that you're at, I don't want to share your location for, you're kind of like in that hidden hideout. That is probably good information if you were thinking about other beach town locations or other sort of out of the way where there's a lot of transient people. It might not be the place for you guys to look when the company starts looking to expand. And so,
I also got to work on the messaging.
So if you walk away
a lot about how to present the company.
So do you have new knowledge? Do you have new knowledge?
Yes.
New experience?
Not so much, a little, but not a lot. But I certainly have a new perspective.
Okay. And did you go out and talk to people?
A richer perspective?
So what's real for you has changed?
Yes.
Is that valuable?
Yes. And I guess if I'd gone back, if I'd known what I know now, I might have done things differently, but I couldn't know what I know now without going through the experience.
Correct. Which is, I think, one of the things. People get stuck because they think they should know things that they have no knowledge, experience, or perspective of. So how could they know until we ask and take the time to find out? And I think it also goes back to, how do we measure success? Is measured success only based on the revenue we earn? Because that was what you said. I could have been doing other things that were revenue producing things. So if that's your definition of success, yeah, you might go back and say, hey, you know what? I did squander that. Although if some conversation or some phrasing that you figured out in that time is valuable the next time, you might be like, wow, that's great phrasing. And it might be 2 years from now and you'll be like, where did that come from? Like, oh yeah, that was a conversation I had with the guy at the beach and he was really interested and intrigued about it and liked that, responded well to it, just wasn't the right time or place for him. So your mind still thinks, well, that was squandered. I wasted all that time at the beach. But now maybe you're like, maybe that was of value. And I think, I would say that one way to squander it is if we spend too much time judging and focus on the judgment or the results or the judgment of those results. That to me would be squandering. If we're spending time looking at the results and what did we learn from it? What went well? What didn't go as planned? What would we do differently? I think that's valuable use of your time. And if we spend too much time being like, well, that was a waste of time. I could have been doing this, should have been doing that, might have had an opportunity here. To me, that would be squandering of your time.
Was that your one thing?
I think that's my one thing.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna just put a big exclamation mark on that because I think that's really solid and really good advice that I'm taking to heart today and probably will help me in my business just because it takes some of the.
It's fascinating when the internet chooses to cut you off, just as you're usually about to say something that has real value, the internet shows up and says, nope, we're not going to allow that out there in the world for the moment. So what we'll do, I'm going to wrap this up since Bob seems to have some continual. Oh, you're back. I was just about to wrap it up because I was like, yeah, Bob's had enough and he's frozen again. So anyhow, everyone, thanks so much for being a part of our show today. Yeah, Dan says Bob's cliffhangers. It's funny. Every time you cut out, and I was just saying this, is at a time when like the next thing would be like the key word or phrase in the sentence. So everybody's like, I guess we'll never know what Bob had to say. So that's.
I apologize, everyone. Wasn't intentional.
I think it added some intrigue to the show today. So I'm looking back on it as again, did we squander this time because you were in and out? I'm going to say no.
No.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. We hope that you found value in it. And if you have one thing you'd like to share about this or around squandering and what that means, how does that look, especially as it relates to the value of an hour or time, we would love to hear it. Please feel free to share it in the comments. Even if you're watching this on replay, you're not watching it live, we would love to see it. Just put down in the comments that your thoughts and ideas, because we know others will benefit from seeing it. And if you also would like to continue the conversation, please feel free to join us in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It's easy to join. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and all you have to do is ask to join. It is a private group so that we can have space for a community to get together and try to work through some of these challenging things that we are dealing with every day so that we can find our next step along our own unique pathway to success. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. Again, at the appropriate time when Bob would typically say, embrace the renegade in you, and you might want to go out and buy some Christmas cards. Or if you have your Christmas cards, today's a great day to put them in the mail. Finish them up and put them in the mail. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.